Hello and welcome back to Bluebaggers Edge and of course the latest edition of Talking Trades to discuss all the relevant trade rumours and news. And if you're new around these parts, don't forget before we kick things off to give us a like and subscribe of course. We do appreciate your support. Well, as I would say in Ghostbusters,
We got one!
it is official. Nick Haynes is now a Bluebagger, having been one of a host of free agents to have made their moves to other clubs with the free agency window opening today. And as we spoke about previously, he has been signed just to a one-year deal, obviously having learnt our lesson for gifting our previous free agent in Fantasia a two-year deal, where I think he probably should otherwise be delisted to free up a spot, but that's by the by. This, of course, is linked to the fact that Haynes himself has had a storied history with injuries and durability issues himself, so it gives us a bit of insurance if they happen to strike again. But fingers crossed that the injury gods do show us some mercy in 2025. So he comes to us as a much-needed boost to our key defensive stocks and assist the likes of Weeders and Gov in particular. We'll have to wait and see if we can nab another cheapie in the trade period, like maybe a Tomlinson, or instead, target someone through the draft, as Haynes has virtually replaced the spot of the delisted Marchbank. And if you count Dom Aquay having been delisted as well, we're virtually -1 in terms of our tall defensive stocks. But as I said, draft or trade will be where we stock that back up. Now Haynes, he is no slouch. Drafted at pick 7 in 2011. At the peak of his powers, he was actually All-Australian in 2020 and won the Giants best and fairest that same season, I think alongside Whitfield. Of course, he does come to us in the twilight of his career, managing just 8 games in 2024, but that is probably more of a reflection of how strong the Giants' key defensive players are, having to contend with the likes of obviously Taylor, Buckley, Himmelberg, Iden, along with obviously Lika Leah, who is someone that I would love for us to get our hands on. So in that context, I think he comes to us as a relative bargain and limited risk, given we didn't have to give up really any draft capital, trade capital as an unrestricted free agent. And as you know here, we love our stats on this channel, so let's run the microscope over his career from a statistical standpoint and do a little surface level comparison of our defensive stocks. So the first thing to note here is assessing his defensive element of his game in terms of, I guess there's numerous ways to do so, but just for the sake of this, in terms of intercept marks. So intercept marks, he averages 2.3 across his career, as you see there, which compared to our current defenders, would place him second behind Wiedering, who averaged 2.9 in 2024. So let me flick across to that just to give you a bit of a comparison. Intercept marks, as you can see there, Wieders 2.9. Next best after that, there were a couple limited stats there in terms of sample size, I should say, for Lewis Young, who was 2.1, and Brodie Kemp as a solid 2. And then after that, it was Gov with 1.8. Of course, if we do look at Haynes' 2024, it's a limited sample size, as you can see here, of only 8 games, and one of which he was actually the sub. But if we subtract that, it'd be 1.85 intercept marks over 7 games. And as I said before, just comparing to our defensive stocks, that would have him just above Gov, who is at 1.8. So not too bad in terms of that when we're comparing like for like in that little column there for intercept marks. Now in terms of getting a snapshot of his offensive side of his game, we can look at his meters gained. And he averages across his career, as you can see there that I've highlighted, 308.1 across his career per game. And in terms of 2024, he averaged 333 over 8 matches, as you can see there. But again, if we discount the game that he was sub, this rises to 372 meters gained on average across 2024. So if we compare that to our regular back 6, let's have a quick look here. So comparing that to our regular back 6, that places him only behind Newman with 482 and Gov with 404. So not too bad. And in fact, actually, in 4 of his 8 games, let's have a quick look at his 2024. In 4 of his 8 games, he posted 400 plus meters gained with 441, 450, 474, and a 488, which is top tier. So considering that he was kind of second fiddle, he was a bit of a fringe defender for the Giants to come in and perform as well as he did, and unfortunately not really able to keep his spot. Again, as I said earlier, it speaks to that quality of the back 6 that the Giants have, but It gives a bit of a snapshot of what he can provide in terms of his rebound off the halfback, and also, as I said, in terms of his marking prowess, what he can provide defensively. And of course, there are other metrics to look at alongside this, but this just gives a nice little snapshot of what we can hope to expect. And I can tell you, I am very, very excited, as he's the first step towards strengthening our back six with a much needed tool, which we were exposed for numerous times across 2024 when Weeders and Gov were both missing at various stages, either in game or obviously for particular matches when injured. So in terms of what our recruiting team had to say about his acquisition, let's have a quick squeeze here. This is from Nick Austin. So he said, Nick adds quality to our defensive group, bringing with him valuable experience at the highest level that will complement our back half. Nick has shown a high amount of resilience throughout his career, which is a testament to his strong work ethic, and his durability is a key asset we are really looking to add to our playing list during the off-season. We've observed Nick quite closely this year, and he has been clearly dominant at VFL level. We know the professional he is, his drive and proven ability to stand up as a mature player on the big stage, which makes him the perfect fit for our playing group. We're excited to see Nick in the Navy Blue next year and see him get to work in pre-season with his new teammates. So, yeah, echoes the same excitement that I have for the newly minted man in Navy Blue. So, I think he will provide a fair bit of experience, as Austin touches on there. And as I said, previous All-Australian, he's no slouch. Yes, he's coming to the twilight of his career, but hopefully he's sort of that stopgap that can provide a little bit of, reassurance for our back defensive six, and especially when it comes to the defensive stocks back there, because as we saw with, especially with Gov, who I think, I've touched on it in previous videos where I think he's better used as that sort of third defensive tall, not so much a centre half back, which is kind of what we've been using him as when, Kem's been thrown forward. And again, I don't think Kem's a key lockdown defender either. And I'm actually looking forward to him playing up forward potentially. But, back to the point on Gov, He's not a lockdown defensive tall. He's someone that, as we know, and as I touched on in terms of his meters gained and everything, he's a sort of player that, if you allow him time and space to drift across, take intercept marks, but then also rebound, use his booming kick out of defense, that's really where we get the most out of him. So hopefully Haynesy can, I'm just going to coin him Haynesy now, but hopefully he can unlock that with Gov. I know a little bit's been spoken about rumour-wise with Gov potentially being thrown forward in 2025, which I'm not really for. But, I mean, we'll see how things go. But at the very least, it is going to provide a little bit of, as I said, a bit of depth, much-needed depth back there. And, it'd be interesting to see what the list management does in terms of, and the recruiting team in terms of, do we keep Sam Durden as that, break glass in case of emergency type defender? Is he the sort of journeyman that, like Tom Campbell, who, he's now finding himself at the D's as that backup ruck, and he's virtually made a career out of being a backup ruck. And, likewise with Sam Durden, he's kind of been that backup defender across his entirety of being in the at senior level in the AFL. So I wouldn't be against, keeping him. But if it means that, he's keeping a list spot of someone that we could potentially be getting that's of high quality, that can provide a little bit better, output at senior level, I guess, for lack of a better word, then, I'm all for potentially giving him the flick as well. But be interested to see what happens there. But we will have to keep tabs on that. What are your thoughts, of course, most importantly? Let us know in the comment section down below. Of course, if you are new, as I said, don't forget to like and subscribe to help our channel grow. And with that as well, the growth of the channel since our previous video, which was a day or two ago, has been, insane. It's blown my socks off. So really, really can't thank you enough for your support. For those of you that have subbed, I think prior to the previous video, I think we were around about 150 subs. So we've now passed the 200 sub mark and well on our way to 300. So I will set a little bit of a benchmark here as well. If we can hit 350 subs, I will provide a little bit of incentive in terms of I will release a video themed around my time working at the Carlton Football Club, because I have had some people slide into my DMs in the comment section of previous videos as well, asking about my experience, my time working at the club. I did work in the media department, for those who don't know. I have spoken about it with Terry on Blue Abroad, and Pommy and Oz I had a bit of a brief chat with as well during one of the match review episodes during the back part of the year. But yeah, people have reached out and are keen to hear my thoughts in terms of the inner workings. To an extent, I obviously had a fair bit of contact with the footy department and the players and even the recruiting team and stuff as well. So I have some stories that I can impart, and obviously no real IP breaking type stuff, but in terms of the inner workings, I'm sure a fair few of you who have reached out in particular would be keen to hear my experience. And likewise, when I worked at Collingwood as well. So believe it or not, for those who don't know, I did work formerly at the Pies as well, the enemy, prior to me working in the media team at Carlton, where I headed up the video team as the manager there. So that's the incentive. So if you are keen, jump along for the ride, give us a sub, give us a like, and we do, as I said, appreciate your support. It's blown me away. So thank you so much in advance, and we'll catch you in the next one. Go Baggers.